If you're terminally online like I am, then you probably know that accusing someone of being a bot is just a regular feature of any argument, and arguing is the official means of communicating online. So the internet is full of people accusing each other of being bots at all times. It's an insult that means basically that whatever's being argued sounds a lot like official propaganda from one side or another. Calling people a bot is fighting words in the virtual world, and the word is bandied about incessantly and probably mostly by people under the age of 11. Unfortunately for us, there's actually a lot of truth to the underlying concept. So let's talk about the dead internet theory and what the data actually says about fake accounts and bot activity on the web. I'm Kevin Lankes, and I'm your host for the day we're all working the mines to power the internet forums for the robot meme lords. Like a lot of other pseudo-intellectual bro philosophy, the dead internet theory began on a message board. But this one quickly spread around into the popular culture, and mainstream news outlets picked up on it fast because it actually fell in line with what legitimate studies have been reporting on for a while now. The dead internet theory says that content made by AI and bots has either surpassed content generated by humans or it will very soon. And because AI models are trained and grow by scraping content on the internet to analyze and mimic, the theory says that pretty soon the whole web will just be AI bots scraping other AI bots content and spitting out slop that other AI bots will scrape to post more crap forever and ever, amen. Now the first question we need to ask is whether or not this is really happening, and spoiler alert, it is. Estimates have shown that half of all internet traffic was made by bots in 2024, and AI is improving all the time by leaps and bounds, so it's very possible that the majority of internet traffic at this very moment is completely artificial.
I'm real. I'm real.
Oh yeah, what are your daughters' names?
I'm real.
Puppy's real. Don't worry, puppy, you're real. Very real. Okay, so aside from just feeling kind of gross about that fact, is there anything genuinely worrying about this? Is it a problem that most traffic on the internet is non-human? Turns out there are some issues that could result from this, and they range from kind of irritating to completely catastrophic, so we should probably talk about them. Especially because malicious bot activity is exceedingly common, making up a third of all internet traffic in the US. But it's completely taken over some countries, with 71% of internet traffic in Ireland made up of so-called bad bots and 68% in Germany. Bad bot, bad bot, bad bot. So what are these bots doing? They're not out smoking cloves and stealing your girlfriend, but actually they kind of sort of maybe are. See, artificial internet traffic from bots and AI agents is part of a massive misinformation infrastructure that's been building up on the web. This has been happening for years, ever since the ad revenue model of digital media took over the finance system governing why people get paid and how much. Content operations have been pushing totally hysterical nonsense to get clicks for a long time now, and that's probably not new information to most people, even though most people are still very much falling for it. And now it's even easier because all this can be done in an automated, mass-produced fashion with no human labor involved. Turns out that everything really is computer. Thanks, Creamsicle Caligula. Look, if I personally wanted to, I could set up a system where I could generate an entire news site or multiple news sites with constantly refreshing articles that provide real news and that would market and disseminate those articles widely across the web using a completely automated framework that relies almost exclusively on artificial intelligence. I could do all this with one mouse click once the system was in place. I don't think people realize just how easy this is. Just like I don't think most people ever realize just how easy it is to build a fake news empire and make lots of money from scare tactics and unethical fudging of facts, data, politics, and science. Before, you just had to do it manually, but now you can have the robots do it all. And that's probably the biggest issue with the dead internet theory. The idea that there are so many bots and AI agents roaming around now, huge clusters of them, each owned by a specific person or organization, and they could all be theoretically for hire. A bad actor could buy their way into the White House, for instance, by weaponizing fake information spread across bazillions of artificial accounts and hijacked accounts, and even sites that resemble real news sites. And, you know, there are reports that suggest this scenario isn't fiction, but actually happened during the last election cycle. A 2018 study from Nature found that bots were spreading misinformation from on reliable sources, and this was at the time a massive threat to global democracies. I don't think any of that has changed. And a 2019 study found that bots are even more active after a major event like a school shooting, and they work to drive the narrative about those events in the public conversation. This happens in larger geopolitical movements as well, such as the 2024 election and the Russian invasion of Ukraine. All these bots are being mobilized to spread propaganda in order to sway public opinion one way or another. And this is incredibly devious because these hijacked accounts I mentioned before are real people's accounts, like maybe their Facebook or Twitter profile, and usually they're accounts that have been dormant and out of use for a while, but bots will attempt to log into those, and sometimes they succeed. So then they have completely legitimate social media profiles to leverage to fit into whatever endgame they're aiming for. Of course, account takeovers also happen outside of social media, and bank accounts and investment accounts, and with all these bot armies at one's disposal, that's much easier than it used to be too. And this is actually a whole cottage industry because account takeovers are a product that can be packaged and sold. As much as 11% of all account logins are actually attempts to hijack and weaponize legitimate accounts that belong to regular people. Another thing AI agents are doing is running fake profiles on social media sites that automate fun or cool or just stupid funny images and memes through a whole automatic process, and they build a following because people are liking and subscribing to those accounts. You know, because funny. See Exhibit A, Shrimp Jesus. And this is a place where real life intercepts with tech bro pseudo-philosophy, and the dead internet theory gets it right. Because if you're running your own eclectic mix of fake accounts, then of course you're going to have all of them interact with each other, like each other's posts and comments, and follow each other, because what you're doing is legitimizing their presence so that real people will start to follow them too. And then before long, you have a bunch of big accounts with a genuine audience, and you get to share whatever you want to all those people. Weaponized bots and malicious artificial traffic is everywhere, and it crosses all industries. But the biggest portion of robot goblins occurs in the government sector, and then in finance, and gaming, and entertainment, all following closely behind. Again, this could be anything from account takeovers to coordinated misinformation campaigns. You don't like something about that upcoming Disney movie? Well, there's a whole army of bots ready to spew propaganda about it to make sure everybody else hates it too. This is a big problem because bots are capitalizing on manipulating information where people go to get that information. 56% of people prefer to get their news in a digital format. Lots of people still watch TV and watch the news, but over half of people are pretty much glued to their phones when it comes to absorbing the information that tells them what to believe about the world these days. And social media is the second most preferred source of news. This is why all these artificial accounts and bot traffic are such a gigantic threat. I mean, it's no wonder we're struggling to break through the noise and genuinely engage with each other anymore, because over half of what we're engaging with isn't actually each other. It's all bullshit, and a lot of it is intentionally harmful bullshit, whether we're conscious of being harmed or not. As for the related idea inherent in the dead internet theory, the musing that because of the way things are going with the AI arms race right now, sometime soon the internet could just be AI GPTs talking to each other for the rest of time, engaging with each other in weirder and weirder ways, looping forever until it's just AI slop all the way down. There's no specified end goal to this, and it's confusing to even think about where it might lead, but it's easy to see how that situation could render our most vital communication tool completely useless at some point. Ah, my boy! Look what they've done to my boy! But the real concern is still that the system we've developed and the technology used therein allows for bad actors to potentially control the narrative about important moments in society, politics, and culture. The public can be swayed to think what they're designed to think and push toward a specific result or call to action. Gamergate was a good example of this. So how do we escape a dead internet? What can you or I actually do to combat the fact that robots are out to get our very souls? The first thing we can do is elevate and improve our information and media literacy skills. This is incredibly important, especially these days, and we didn't have enough time to get everyone on board with it before our lives were completely taken over by the Decepticons. Misinformation was rampant before robots were spreading it, and people were not prepared then, and they definitely aren't prepared now that it's so easy to propagate. I'm going to throw some quick tips at you. Follow reputable sources. Reputable doesn't mean elitist or whatever. It means sources where if someone makes a mistake in factual accuracy in reporting, there will be consequences for that employee. Outlets like the Associated Press, Reuters, NPR, The Guardian, and weirdly enough, Wired are all great places to start right now. You can also download Ground News, which is an app that highlights bias in news organizations and provides you with additional coverage of a topic from outlets across the spectrum. It's really helpful, and even though I would totally take their money without hesitation, they're not a sponsor or anything. I just think the concept is really cool. And if you find yourself encountering some weird angry shitheads on social media, the first thing to do is to just ignore them. The second thing to do if you fail at the first thing is to check out their profile and go through their post history and see how old the account is. If you're looking at a week-old account that does nothing but shit posts, well, guess what? You're talking to a bot. If suddenly your friends and family have stopped posting updates on the really hideous kids you're related to but wish you weren't, and all of a sudden they're inviting you to their Ponzi scheme breakfast smoothie club where you have to take out a loan from the CEO of the company in order to join up, then your loved one has been the victim of an account takeover. And don't you get caught in an account takeover. Make sure to change your passwords regularly and use strong gibberish passwords instead of the combination on your luggage, which everyone knows is 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's amazing. I've got the same combination on my luggage.
Google makes stupid, complicated passwords for you. All you have to do is set them up in your password manager, or get a password tool like 1Password that saves all your info and keeps everything secure for you. This one's probably too much to ask, but we could all collectively stop using generative AI as much as we are. These big tech companies are only in this arms race because everyone is slobbering all over each other to get the latest and greatest large language model. I'm going to do a whole video on the realities of AI soon, but in short, it's not even very good, and it's nowhere near the utopian singularity or the apocalyptic cyborg empire that either side is claiming it is. It's just a predictive text generator or a predictive pixel generator. It can't think, it can't reason, it just tries to predict what character should come after the last character it put down. That's all it does. And maybe someday we'll have some kind of artificial intelligence technology that can genuinely compare to the output of the human brain, but we're far, far, far away right now. And the current models we do have just completely make shit up almost half of the time you use them. 40% of the time, generative AI is just hallucinating, which is a fun word that, the tech bros have invented for just like making shit up. Again, it's not a bug. Hallucinating is a feature. It's something it does because it can't think or understand what you're asking for. It really doesn't understand the context behind things. It just predicts letters to put down on the screen for you. And I'm going to predict my foot up some tech bro's ass pretty soon here, because from where I'm sitting, I see this whole AI bubble collapsing really hard, at least in the individual commerce sense. The enterprise usefulness of spreading targeted misinformation is unfortunately very likely here to stay. So please get equipped and be mindful of this. Another way you could help is to please make sure you like and subscribe so we can continue to build a community of real people on the internet to combat the growing robot army. And listen, I got my hunting license when I was 12 because America, so I'll pick them off from the second floor window if you barricade the doors. Until then, let's do some fucking good about fake bot bullshit and garbage tech bro tools. Oh, that's a double entendre. You couldn't predict that, you robot bitch.